Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get straight to the insights that matter. Today, we are diving into something, well, it feels pretty groundbreaking for content creators. It's the much anticipated Nikon ZR cinema camera. This isn't just, another camera release. It's Nikon's first real full-blown cinema camera since they acquired RED. And the buzz, it's definitely loud. So, our mission today is straightforward. We're going to unpack the Nikon ZR's key features, look closely at its strengths, its weaknesses too. And then, because while we love a good head-to-head, we'll put it up against some big players like the Canon C50 and the Sony FX3. Think of this as your shortcut, your express lane to figuring out if this new creator's powerhouse is, maybe, your next camera.
Yeah, and powerhouse is a good word for it. This release, it really is significant for the industry, especially for indie creators, vloggers, small production teams. Nikon's clearly aiming squarely at this market. They're trying to pack high-end features into something, well, surprisingly accessible. So understanding where it fits and who it's really for, that's crucial if you're serious about video.
Right, okay. Let's peel back the layers then. Let's get straight into the specs, the core stuff that's causing all this excitement. What's Nikon actually put inside this thing? So at its heart, you've got a full-frame sensor, partially stacked CMOS, around 24.5 megapixels. Now that partially stacked bit, that's important, right? It means faster readout speeds.
Exactly. Helps with those high frame rates, less rolling shutter, that jello effect.
Right, less gel. And then there's the RED co-branding. That's got everyone talking. It includes actual RED color science and this new codec, R3D-ENE.
Yeah, R3D-NE. Think of it like a really efficient pro-level RAW format. It captures all that rich data for grading, flexibility in post. But the files are smaller, more manageable than, say, traditional RAW, which is great for workflows.
A dream for post-production, sounds like. And video capabilities, the numbers look, well, impressive.
They really are.
Internal 6K RAW, up to 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Then 4K up to 120 fps. And full HD all the way up to 240 fps for super slow-mo.
That's a lot of flexibility right there.
And stabilization. It's got 5-axis IBIS, in-body image stabilization, rated at, what, 7.5 stops?
A very solid 7.5 stops, yeah. That's huge for handheld work.
Definitely. Plus dual native ISOs, around 800 and 6400 for cleaner images in different light.
Right, helps manage noise.
And the screen, it's a big one, 4 inches, vari-angle touchscreen, really high res, about 3 million dots, and bright 1000 nits.
That brightness helps outdoors.
Physically, it's pretty compact too. Light, even. Body only, 540 grams. Goes up to maybe 630 with battery and card.
Yeah, very manageable for its capabilities.
Plus, you get weather sealing, good autofocus with subject tracking.
The AF seems pretty advanced, yeah. Multiple subject types.
Internal RAW, like we said, and even internal 32-bit float audio.
That's a nice touch for audio. Basically unclippable sound.
Yeah, huge dynamic range. So, I mean, that's a lot of tech packed into a small body.
It really is. And what's fascinating is how much they've crammed in thinking about the practical benefits for creators. Reviewers, they seem consistently impressed by the video specs for the price point and the size. I mean, getting internal 6K 60 RAW, high frame rates, those RED-type workflows, usually that stuff means much bigger, much more expensive cameras.
Right. It feels like it's lowering the barrier to entry for that kind of quality.
Exactly. It's democratizing it in a way. And that 7.5 stops at IBIS, that really stands out. I actually took this out last week. Kind of a chaotic city shoot. And honestly, I almost left my tripod at home. Yeah, that 7.5 stops. It's not just a number on a sheet. It really works. It lets you grab handheld shots that feel smooth. Great for run and gun, docs, vlogging. You might actually leave the gimbal behind sometimes.
Okay, that's a huge plus for solo shooters then. Less gear to carry.
Definitely a huge win.
So for someone like me, often doing quick setups, could this IBIS genuinely replace, say, a small gimbal for certain shoots? Or are we still needing that for proper cinematic moves?
Good question. For certain things, yeah, absolutely. Like travel vlogs, quick interviews, maybe event coverage where a gimbal's just too much hassle, gives you a baseline of stability that just makes footage look more pro. Now, for those really slow, precise, sweeping cinematic shots, a gimbal's probably still your best bet. But for dynamic, everyday shooting, the ZR's IBIS is, yeah, it's a game changer. And for serious video people, having RD's coloring, that R3D-NE codec, the different log profiles, that's really valuable. It gives you color flexibility and image quality you normally find way up the price ladder. And matching footage with actual RED cameras should be much easier.
Makes sense.
Plus, it's compact, it's light, compared to older cinema bodies. Way less hassle on location. And, while video's the main event, it's still a decent stills camera.
Yeah.
24 megapixels, fast AF. So for hybrid creators, those who need good photos and video, it's not really a compromise on the photo side.
Okay, so it sounds fantastic on paper. Great specs, RED integration, good IBIS, compact. But, like with any new gear, there have got to be trade-offs, right?
Some downsides.
Let's get into where early testers are finding maybe some limitations.
Right. Nothing's perfect.
One thing that keeps coming up is the lack of a viewfinder. No built-in EVF.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one for some people.
Yeah, especially in bright sunlight. Even with a 1,000 nit screen, direct sun can be tough. Or just for shooting at eye level, for stability or that specific perspective.
And EVF just feels more connected sometimes.
Exactly. Then, connectivity. The ports. It uses micro HDMI.
Ah, micro HDMI, the classic.
Right. It feels almost like a throwback. For a camera aiming this high, you'd expect full-size HDMI for robust cables on pro rigs. Micro can be finicky.
Yeah, a potential point of failure. Or just an annoyance needing adapters.
And limited mounting points, too, apparently. So you probably need a cage or grips pretty quickly if you want to rig it up with monitors, microphones, handles.
Yeah, the base body is quite minimal in that sense. A cage is likely one of the first accessories people will buy.
Okay, and what about power? Battery life?
Early impressions suggest it's modest, especially if you're pushing it. High frame rates, raw recording, that drains batteries fast.
Right. I saw one test mentioning maybe 380 shots for stills, which for hybrid use is okay, but for heavy video.
You'll definitely need multiple batteries, no question. Keep spares charged and ready.
Which leads to another point, this bare bones design. You need accessories, handles, maybe better audio solutions, mounting points.
All adds up. Increases the cost, increases the weight. That initial light body weight doesn't tell the whole story once it's rigged.
Good point. And finally, the crop factor in high frame rate modes.
Yeah, that's something to be aware of. Modes like 4K 120p's, they seem to involve an APS-C crop, or something similar.
So it effectively zooms in your image, reduces the field of view.
Exactly. If you're relying on a specific wide-angle lens, or need that consistent full-frame look across all frame rates, that's a potential snag. You have to plan around it.
Okay. Lots to consider there on the downside.
So if we try and connect these specs and potential issues to what people are actually seeing in the field, what's the real-world experience like?
Yeah, how does it perform when the rubber meets the road?
Well, low light performance. Testers seem pretty happy. They're talking about usable, clean shadows, even when pushing the ISO. That's thanks to the dual native ISOs. And the IBIS helps too, letting you use slightly lower shutter speeds maybe. Offers good flexibility indoors or in dim light.
But still some noise at the very highest ISOs, presumably.
We'll still see some grain and noise when you really push it. That's physics. But usable range seems good. That 4K 120 full-piece crop, yeah, that's confirmed. It's an APS-C crop in many high frame rate modes. So you need to factor that in for lens choice. And testers do mention heat and power draw. Especially in those demanding modes, 6K raw, high frame rates, it can get warm and it definitely eats batteries. Probably not something you can just leave running for hours in the sun shooting raw without thinking about cooling or power.
Makes sense. And the stabilization in practice, that 7.5 stops.
Rated is very good handheld. People seem genuinely impressed with how much shake it cuts down, especially with mid-range lenses, but, strap a really heavy long telephoto lens on there. Even 7.5 stops has its limits. Basic physics still applies.
So that battery life thing, that light body weight we mentioned, it feels a bit deceptive then, because a real-world shoot means adding batteries, cages.
Absolutely. The reality is heavy video work, raw, high FPS, it drains power fast. That lovely low body only weight figure, it's just the starting point. Doesn't include the necessary extras for a full shoot day.
Right. And what about the image itself? Color, grading latitude?
Early samples look promising. Good latitude for post-production, nice smooth roll-off in the highlights, so no nasty digital clipping. Skin tones look pleasing generally. Dynamic range is often quoted around 15 stops, maybe a bit more, which is excellent for handling contrasty scenes, keeping detail and shadows in highlights.
Okay, that sounds solid. And handling day-to-day use?
The lack of an EVF comes up again. People find it annoying in bright sun, even with the bright screen.
Despite the 1,000 nits.
Yeah. The screen itself is great. That 4-inch vari-angle is useful. But for tricky angles or just really critical focus and framing, an external monitor often becomes necessary.
So another potential add-on cost and piece of kit.
Exactly. Something else to factor into the overall setup.
Okay, we've really dug into the ZR now, the good and the less good. Now for the big comparison. How does this newcomer stack up against established players like the Canon C50 and the Sony FX3? This is where things get really interesting for anyone trying to decide.
Yeah, the context is everything here.
So first up, video resolution and formats. The Nikon ZR, we know, 6K 60 RAW internal, 4K up to 120, Full HD up to 240, pretty strong offering.
Very solid, yeah.
The Canon C50, though, it brings 7K open gate, up to 60 FOPs, from a 32 megapixel sensor.
That open gate is key. Recording the whole sensor area gives you huge flexibility later, reframing, stabilizing, different aspect ratios. It's powerful.
Very powerful. Plus Canon's log profiles, they're dual pixel AF, which is, famously reliable.
Dual pixels, excellent.
Then the Sony FX3, it's primarily a 4K camera, still a beast, especially known for low light. Fewer megapixels, about 12 MP, but those larger pixels really help in the dark. Strong video features overall.
Right. FX3's reputation for low light is well earned.
Okay, so dynamic range and low light. ZR has dual native ISOs, good DR at 15 plus stops, IBIS helps.
He's been competitive there.
Canon C50 also has strong dual native ISOs, good log options, should be very flexible.
Canon's color science and log are well regarded.
But the Sony FX3, it still kind of owns that low light space, doesn't it? Clean high ISOs, thanks to those bigger pixels, might still have an edge in really dim conditions.
Potentially, yeah. If extreme low light is your main thing, the FX3 is hard to beat.
Portability, handling, build. ZR is light, compact, weather-sealed, great screen, but no EVF, needs rigging.
The Achilles heel, maybe, for some.
Canon C50, also compact, often has more mounting points built in. Better pro audio support sometimes, with handles and XLR inputs available or included.
Yeah, often feels a bit more ready to rig out of the box.
And the Sony FX3. It's a mature system, lots of accessories out there, established ecosystem. People know its size capability balance really well.
Very proven platform.
Okay, the big one, price and value. The Nikon ZR is aggressive. $2,199 US, about $2,199 UK, body only. For 6K RAW and Red U features, that feels disruptive.
This is a very compelling price point, no doubt. Shakes things up.
The Canon C50 is pricier, but you get the 7K open gate, maybe more robust build or audio options.
You're paying for those extra pro features and that higher resolution potential.
Sony FX3. Established price, strong used market too, lots of third-party accessories, good value if 4K is enough and you don't need the absolute latest resolution.
Right, it's a known quantity, often available in bundles or used deals.
Lastly, workflow and ecosystem. ZR has the new R3D NE codec, RED color science, great for RED users or Nikon Z shooters.
Integrates well if you're in that world already.
Canon C50 has the growing RF lens line, excellent dual pixel AF, and that 7K open gate is huge for flexibility.
Open gate is a big differentiator for future-proofing or complex post-work.
Sony's E-mount system is incredibly mature. Tons of lens options, established color profiles, rock-solid performance, but maybe that 4K ceiling feels a bit dated now compared to 6K or 7K.
For some users, yeah. If you need higher resolution delivery or significant cropping, 4K might feel limiting compared to the newer options.
So it really depends on your priorities.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the crucial question. Who is each of these cameras really for?
Right, let's try and nail that down.
Okay, the Nikon ZR. I think it's ideal for solo creators, maybe vloggers, small teams who prioritize portability but still want really high-spec video. People who don't mind adding a cage and rigging it up a bit. What Nikon's done here is bottle up pro raw cinema features into a body and price that just makes high-end filmmaking accessible to way more people. It's a strategic play.
Strategic play, I like that. Feels like it changes the game for entry-level cinema almost.
It really does. Now, on the other hand, the Sony FX3, if you shoot constantly in very low light, or you need the absolute cleanest image straight out of camera with minimal fuss in post, the FX3 might still be your best bet. Sony's processing, the lens options, it's just a proven, reliable workhorse. You know exactly what you're getting. It just works.
The works now option, reliable and predictable.
Precisely. Then the Canon C50. This appeals if you really want that highest resolution, the 7K open gate. Or if you heavily rely on top-tier autofocus like dual pixel, and maybe you want more pro audio and rigging options built in from the start. It's kind of the future-proofing choice, giving you maximum flexibility down the line even if it costs more upfront.
Okay, so ZR for accessible high-spec RAW, FX3 for low-light reliability, C50 for max resolution and flexibility.
That's a good summary. And don't forget the ecosystem. If you already own a bunch of Nikon Z lenses, the ZR is a natural fit. Same for Canon RF or Sony E-mount.
Lenses are a huge investment, sometimes more than the body.
Definitely. And for actual cinema or short film work, The ZR's R3D NE codec could be great for matching with bigger RD cameras. But the C50's open gate and dual native ISOs, those are serious advantages for cinematography, giving you loads of creative room.
So after laying it all out, my takeaway is the ZR really does feel like a new kind of sweet spot camera. Top specs, not crazy heavy or expensive. You get raw, high frame rates, good IBIS. Does feel like it shifts the whole landscape for accessible, high-end video?
I think it absolutely hits a remarkable sweet spot, yeah. It undeniably democratizes access to features that were out of reach for many.
Hmm.
But maybe a slight nuance for
Okay.
really high stakes, paid gigs, or maybe working needing extreme post-production manipulation.
Yeah.
That 7K open gate on the C50 still offers a level of reframing or stabilization potential that even the ZR's great RAW might not quite match. It's subtle, but could matter for some.
A specific advantage for certain demanding workflows.
Exactly, and the FX3.
Yeah.
Maybe less flashy now spec-wise, but it remains incredibly solid, reliable, proven. For people who value it, just works every time over the absolute bleeding edge. Still a fantastic choice.
Totally fair. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How camera tech keeps pushing, bringing these high-end features down to more creators. So as you weigh these options, maybe thinking about that bleeding edge versus a reliable workhorse, ask yourself, what trade-offs are you willing to make for your creative vision? What do these tools mean for how you tell your stories?